In this problem, we're asked to find the radius of the circle. They want us to use 22/7 for the value of pi and then to round our answer to the nearest tenth. We're also given the information that our area of this circle that we have in question here is 158 and 4/10 square miles. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to put in that pi is going to be equal to 22/7, and then it's the radius that we are looking for. So I'm going to put that as a question mark. So the formula we need to recall is that the area is going to be equal to pi times the radius of the circle squared. So I'm going to replace my area in this formula with 158 and 4/10 square miles. We're going to set that equal to 22/7. I'm going to put that 22/7 in parentheses. And then we're taking that times the radius of the circle, which is what we're looking for. That's going to be squared. Now, from here, what we want to do is we want to get this r squared by itself first. So in order to do that, I'm going to have to get rid of this 22/7. Now, I have a couple different options. I could take this term and divide it by 22/7 on this side, or I could take this term and multiply it by the reciprocal of this fraction here. So the reciprocal of this fraction, 22/7, is going to be 7/22. We just simply take that fraction and we flip it upside down. Now, since I multiplied this side by 7/22, that means I'm going to have to multiply this side by 7/22 also. So whenever I work over here on the left-hand side of my equation, I'm going to have 7/22 times, now this 158 and 4/10, I'm going to need to convert that into a fraction. And I do that by simply putting the 158 and 4/10 square miles over 1. And then I'm going to have equals to, and then on the other side, I'm taking 22/7 r squared times 7/22. And what happens is the 22s are going to cross cancel each other out, as are the 7s, and that's just going to leave me with r squared. Now, from here, what I need to do is I need to go ahead and multiply the numerators together and the denominators together, these fractions. So in my calculator, I'm going to type in 158 and 4/10 times 7, and that's going to give me 1,108 and 8/10 square miles. And then whenever I take 22 times 1, that's going to give me 22. And that's going to be equal to r squared. Now I need to simplify this down a little bit more. So I'm going to take this 1,108 and 8/10, and I'm going to divide that by 22, which is going to give me 50 and 4/10 square miles. And that should be equal to r squared. Now, this r squared is the same as saying r times r. So I don't want two r's, I just simply want one of them. So what I need to do to break this apart and get a single r is I need to take the square root of this r squared. Now, what I do to one side, I must do to the other as well. So if I take the square root of r squared, that's going to leave me with r, the radius, what I'm looking for. And then in my calculator, I'm going to take 50 and 4/10, and I'm going to take the square root of that, which is going to give me something like 7.09929, and it's going to keep going on, and that's going to be square miles. Now, in our directions, they tell us they want us to round to the nearest tenth. So the nearest tenth place is going to be one place to the right of the decimal, which is where that 0 is at. So we must look at the number that's in the hundreds place to know how we round, whether we leave this as a 0 or if we bump it up to a 1. Now, since the number in the hundreds place is 5 or larger, that means we're going to take this 0 and we're going to bump it up to a 1. So it's going to be 7 and 1/10 square miles should be equal to r, and then that would be the answer to our problem.